Many have said a picture is worth 1,000 words, and well, I agree. One picture can capture a moment of history, a compilation of thoughts and feelings that'll never be the same again. But how exactly do we take pictures that capture so much? It's because of this that I began to research the 10 best websites on how to become a professional photographer. During this presentation, I plan to offer information I've gathered about the top 10 best websites on becoming a professional photographer. We're all in college, and this is a time of great growth and time that we change the most. And it's because of that I believe that it's important to learn how to capture these meaningful times. With my passion for photography as well as the education I've acquired in looking up these websites, I have compiled a list of 10 best websites to become a professional photographer. It's because of my passion that I find this so intriguing to learn about, and I'm excited to share with you guys what I found out. I'll talk about each of the 10 websites I have found and the significant points of each one. For the 10 sites, I have placed them in a specific order, and the first one covers an overview of many points of photography. The next 9 I placed in an order that I felt was most important and pertinent to know when you become a professional photographer. The first website I found was a BLS.gov website, and it's an occupational outlook handbook. This covers various aspects of photography, and there's 9 different sections covering different information. It covers things like the description of the work, the training necessary, and jobs that are related to photography. Also, it talks about the training you need to further your career, which I found interesting because it allows me to know what I have to do to become even more than just a photographer. The second website I found is called Photo Techniques, and it has tips for professionals who are just getting started, just like I am. These tips are really easy to understand, and it also makes photography easier to understand and makes it a level that I can comprehend because I don't know much about photography. The third is from Smashing Magazine, and this has 50 techniques about photography, and each technique has a picture to go along with it. It talks about guidelines to photography as well as tutorials that cover a vast amount of subjects. This website allows the possibilities of photography. It allows you to discover who you are as a photographer and what that would mean for you. The fourth site I found was from Digital Photography School by Nally Norton, who is a photographer, and she talks about 5 tips to building your portfolio. These are really easy to understand, and she also offers links to other websites that talk about presenting your portfolio as well as creating a business card, which are all important when you just start out. The fifth site I found is a virtual photography studio, which talks about 25 ways to getting people to know who you are and generating leads for clientele. The tips they have are explained really well, and it talks about being aggressive and promoting yourself so that many people can hear about you and learn about who you are. And these links, the links that they have on their website, talks about the equipment that's necessary as well as creating clientele. The sixth site I found is from Buzzle, and it explains different types of photography. 26 types are mentioned, and they have definitions and specific circumstances for when you would use those different types. It also talked about the potential of photography as well as the background of photography to give you a full range of what photography entails. The seventh site is a photography blog by a photographer, and it talks about how to market your business, and talks about creating a sense of who you are as a photographer and allowing that to decide how your business is. Eighth, I found a photography education site written by Michael Bustamante, who is a photographer, and he talks about different photography schools to go to, whether vocational or trade. He also talks about one-time photography classes, which are really helpful, and he talks about the possibilities with each degree and how those can further your photography. The ninth site I found was a guide by Danny Stein, who is a photographer, and he talks about being a photographer and all that entails, the internships that are possible and how those can really help you as a photographer, specific areas of photography and how those look differently. His information is really good, and because he's a photographer himself, he has his own input, which helps a lot. My last website is College Grad, and it covers many aspects of photography. Like the first one, it talks about different areas of photography, so that you know a lot about the nature. The part I liked a lot was the working conditions, and it talks about the different hours that you would have depending on where you go with your photography. Your hours will look differently, and that was really interesting to read about. It also has links to a society of media photographers and just getting connected with other people. The more people you know, the more people know you and your name, and then the more you can really promote yourself. The 10 sites I talked about contain information how to become a professional photographer, and these sites were the most helpful to me with my search in pursuing photography. These sites have helped me understand more about professional photography and just what everything entails instead of just knowing about it. There are thousands of websites about photography, but I believe that the 10 I have will allow you to start your journey on photography and trying to capture those moments that you want. The compilation from the professionals, because they have their own input as to what they want their photography to look like, this was really helpful, and just knowing that they started exactly where we are is encouraging as well. From my websites, I'm confident that you can start your journey to photography and discovering the kind of pictures that you can take. Any questions?
Why do you have a passion for photography?
I have a passion because photography can look so different, and depending on your angle or your lighting, one picture can look completely different and capture a different story.
What tip was the most helpful?
I would say the tip about looking into different photographers and widening your range of information. The more you know, the more you can do with your own photography, and that was helpful to know that I should be looking at other artists and photographers.
My question is, why do you want to learn about photography?
I think photography is something I've taken for granted, and I have not really pursued photography, but I know that they can capture special moments, and so the more you know and the more you learn, the more you can capture. Thank you.